Do you understand that in America, workers have a fundamental right to join a union and collectively bargain to improve wages, benefits, and working conditions? Mr. Schultz, are you aware that NLRB judges have ruled that Starbucks violated federal labor law over 100 times during the past 18 months, far more than any other corporation in America?
Sir, Starbucks Coffee Company unequivocally, and let me set the tone for this very early on, has not broken the law.
Starbucks has fired over 100 union leaders and supporters to date. In the last year, the union has filed over 350 unfair labor practice charges against Starbucks with the NLRB. We are tired of watching Starbucks continue to violate workers' rights, knowing that the law will fail to offer any meaningful consequences.
We are the union, the mighty, mighty union, the mighty, mighty union, fighting for workers, fighting for workers, and union recognition.
I want everybody to know that this is the worker I was talking about from Long Island. She just was terminated not too long ago after the union vote.
The reason why I got fired, I definitely believe, is for this unionization.
In Buffalo alone, we've had 10 people fired in retaliation for union organizing.
The stores that are pushing to unionize are being pummeled by corporate.
They fired Nathan Ternowski from my store for going home sick. They fired Angel Krempa for being late because her car died.
They had unjustly fired me on April 1st because I did win the union election within that store.
They fired Sam Amato for allegedly closing the cafe without permission.
August 5th, I was fired. You know, I always thought I had a target on my back because I was heavily involved with the union. I was very vocal about it. 6
days after my union win, and I knew right then that I was getting fired.
Earlier this month, Victoria Conklin successfully organized her Starbucks store in Buffalo, New York, meaning they were able to unionize. But unfortunately, that turned her into a target by her employers, and all they needed was one little mistake to fire her.
The support manager pulled out the notice of separation, and she told me that I was being fired for being late one time. And I told her that I hoped whatever money Starbucks was giving to her to abandon any sort of morals or ethics she may have had was worth it in the end for her.
Howard Schultz visited here in Buffalo on November 6th of 2021, which was conveniently 4 days before our ballots were set to be mailed out for the first 3 stores that had filed union petitions. And we were told that all of the stores in Buffalo, the entire Buffalo market, was going to close at 3 p.m. that day so that every Starbucks partner could be encouraged to attend this special event, which was held at a hotel downtown.
I grew up in public housing in Brooklyn, New York, better known as the projects, for low-income, disadvantaged families. I experienced at the age of 7 the imprinting, the shame, the vulnerability, the embarrassment of a family that was really destitute. I had incredible shame about it.
He's saying these words to a room full of hourly employees who are barely scraping by on a regular basis. The fact that not being a billionaire was in some way shameful.
He gave a very uncomfortable speech about how we should be thankful for everything that he gives us, and somehow invoked the Holocaust.
When people in Germany and in Poland were sent to the concentration camps, they were thrown into rail cars, and when they arrived at the camps, men were separated from women, and women were separated from children.
And I turned around to my manager who was behind me and I said, "Can I please go home?" And she said, "No, I don't think we can. I think we have to stay."
And one person for every 6 was given a blanket. But most people shared their blanket with 5 other people. And so much of that story is threaded into what we have tried to do at Starbucks, is share our blanket.
So in this scenario, I'm supposed to be a concentration camp prisoner?
He made like, you know, the infamous Holocaust reference, you know, said that like prisoners, which, sorry, it's a little bit emotional for me because my mom's parents were survivors of the Holocaust.
So listen to this. Starbucks became the first company in America to provide comprehensive health insurance for every single employee, including part-time people. Now, who forced us to do that? Who pushed us to do it? No one. We did it because we thought it was the right thing.
We were talked at for nearly an hour about why we should feel ashamed of asking for more from a company that had already given us so much.
I just remember thinking like, great, like who are you to say this to us? I'm getting healthcare through Starbucks. I can't afford my medical bills. I can't afford rent, food, gas. Like, and you're up here telling us we should be grateful. Like, are you really that disconnected?
Unfortunately, over the last several years, the cost of the benefits increased while the coverage decreased, and wages did not keep up. Other benefits were completely taken away without warning or explanation. I broke my ankle in early 2018, and I paid for that entire medical bill out of pocket because the benefits I could afford through the company were not sufficient to even cover the medical costs for a broken ankle.
What's the point of having benefits if they aren't accessible to the people that need them?
I've been blessed. My dreams have come true.
I was thoroughly disappointed. There was no opening that they have offered for baristas to speak.
Gianna Reeve, she had messaged us and was like, I think I'm going to stand up and ask Howard if he'll sign the fair election principles. And we're like, do it, we'll stand with you.
He began to say thank you, end his speech, and go to walk to leave. I'm getting nervous at this point.
Thank you very much.
And she had immediately stood up and she asked, Howard, will you sign the fair election principles?
And before I could get another word out, he was gone.
And instead of having a conversation with a room full of his workers, his first impulse is to flee the room.
I just started to talk because if Howard wasn't going to listen, I was hoping that someone would.
My name is Gianna Reed.
Thank you.
I am an organizing member of Starbucks Workers United.
This was the chance that I had to speak to this large group of baristas.
You know how much this means to me, and you know how much I love my partners.
And she was then surrounded by his SWAT team.
One of the corporate executives grabbed me. People trying to physically use their bodies to keep me stationary. I was terrified. I thought they'd either immediately get me to sit down, they'd call security and kick me out.
So Howard Schultz, please, if you care about your partners in Buffalo, please sign the fair election principles. Please, I haven't had
A lot of the partners were cheering and standing up and clapping. There was
Thank you, Gianna.
Thank you.
That was a moment that really transitioned the union effort for us in a very positive way.
And I started thinking, like, she really believes in this union. Maybe I should start talking to them.
We had people signing union cards right after that, right in front of all the support managers.
And even someone that was in the audience there, a newer partner telling me that they were afraid to wear a union pin, but now after this spectacle that they were going to.
It felt like a victory, actually, to have him be here and come and speak with us and misstep every part of his speech. My store, along with 2 other stores, filed within like weeks after that had occurred.
And certainly, as soon as we won that first union, what we saw was an outpouring of Starbucks workers from stores all over the country saying, how do I do this? How do I organize my store?
All we've extended were olive branches, and we've been met with vitriol and retaliation.
Mr. Schultz, were you informed of or involved in the decision to close all Buffalo area stores in November 2021, just days before area union elections, in order for Starbucks employees to listen to you give a speech on why they should vote against forming a union, a meeting the NLRB has determined was a violation of the law?
My involvement and engagement in union activities, despite this event today, has been de minimis.
The threat of the loss of benefits has been a talking point from Starbucks corporate since day one of our campaign. They began to discipline us, then fire us, then permanently close our stores. And that behavior has only increased tenfold since the return of Howard Schultz as interim CEO in April of this year.
You're a billionaire, and they are your employees. The imbalance of power is extreme, and that is why people want to come together to form a union.
This monarch billionaire, let's just get at that, okay? Yes, I have billions of dollars. I earned it. No one gave it to me.
We are tired of listening to billionaire CEOs take sole credit for the billions of dollars of profit made off our labor. We find ourselves at the forefront of a new labor movement.
Let me tell you something, Howard. We heard that you fired over 100 plus partners across the country. But guess what? We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back. And I want to let you know this. We'll be back. If you don't recognize the union, we will shut it down.
And we have to demonstrate to our people they can trust us. And we have to show up.
Could you ever see doing that and embracing the union as part of it?
No.